Hello and welcome to a very special edition of our Spotlight interviews. Today we have Julie Grant, who is a musician, a singer and a writer. So welcome Julie, and thank you very much for agreeing to do this.
Hello, thank you. It's lovely to be here with you.
You're very welcome. So first of all, we'll just go straight to the questions if that's okay with you. First one is, when did you become vegan and how did it happen? Was it overnight or was it a gradual process?
It was a gradual progress. I would say I became a vegan probably about 1989, but I'd been a vegetarian since 1968. I was only 5 in 1968, by the way. But I realised at a very early age that it wasn't right to exploit animals. I had no interest in eating animals. I loved them. And there was somebody that used to live nearby that bred budgies, and I was fascinated with birds and things, and I couldn't understand how every Sunday somebody could put a bird in the oven, you know, and that's an animal. And so I was very, very aware of it and never agreed with it and didn't really know about veganism. I wasn't taught anything. And in those days, you know, in the late 60s, 70s, the word vegetarian, people wouldn't even know what you meant. Yeah. And it became more prominent probably about the early 80s, 1981, 1982. There was quite a few sort of vegetarian activists came around. And then I looked more into it and didn't realise there was a difference between vegans and vegetarians, and thought, you know, yeah, vegetarianism is great, don't get me wrong, you know, I'm all in support of that, but there's a difference, you know. Yeah. So I decided, yeah, I want to go further with this and learn more about it, so I did.
So what do you think is the hardest part of being vegan?
The hardest part, well, it used to be trying to find out more about what you know, what's right to eat, what you should eat. You know, things like eggs, you think, oh, well, they're from animals, but it's still exploiting animals, you know, things like that. And then when I looked further into it, it's not really hard. If you're committed, you have to do the research and you have to look into it, and it is absolutely possible. There's that old cliche, you know, oh, do you live on lettuce leaves and there must be a very bland diet, which people often use, and I say it as an excuse not to bother even thinking about it, you know. Yeah. But if you look into it, there's plenty of foods that you can eat, and quite often they're you know, really not that I've eaten meat, but I would imagine they're probably better tasting anyway, apart from the moral issues.
Yeah. So being a vegan and a musician is a unique opportunity to spread awareness, and it's a form of activism in its own right as well. So how easy do you find it to talk to friends and family about veganism and animal rights? And do you find it's easier to communicate through, 2 seconds, you just got off there. And do you find it easier to communicate through lyrics and music?
Much easier, because I write about what I want to write about. I'm not a mainstream artist. I don't write to please, you know, to please the crowds and for people to think, oh, isn't that a nice tune? The lyrics are very important to me. I wrote a song called Excellent Animal, which is on my album, which is against the greyhound racing industry. And it's about, you know, quote one of the lyrics, "This is the way they're supposed to live." And it's about, you know, animals as pets. I've got rescue greyhounds who had a terrible life. And it's very, very easy, because again, if you put something into a melody, people will latch onto the song and think, oh, that's a nice melody, but then they start to actually listen to the lyrics. So it's not a case of preaching, because I think that possibly, well, it may not work as much, whereas if you do it with a song and you try and educate and inspire people, I think for me personally, that's a better way to go about it. And I just thought this is an ideal opportunity to say what I want to say about this, not in every song, but in some of the songs. I used to write poetry in the 80s as well, and I had that published, and that was about against, again, the exploitation of animals and against animal testing, things like that, which at that time, you know, people never talked about, and I got a lot of people interested and brought some awareness there. And it's just something I feel strongly about. I write about a lot of things, but that is certainly something that I've covered and people have picked up on. And people tend to, you know, listen to the lyrics that I do write because they're important. I tend to get the sort of audience that aren't musicians, if that makes sense, which I like, because then people actually listen to what you're saying, rather than just thinking, oh, I like that guitar bit or I like that drum bit. They actually realise it's lyric based.
I think it's very important to recognise that there's so many different types of activism, and using the
Yes.
creative arts is a really, really good and valid way of doing it, because you reach a different audience. You know, it's kind of almost like subliminal, and then, like you said, people sort of get into the melody, or they'll sort of like listen to a particular lyric, and then they'll understand it. So it's a really, really good way of doing it.
It is. It's a great way. Plus, you can make posters, and you know, people buy things. You can put a little bit of literature information on your CD, whatever. Again, without preaching, because I find that sometimes if you go a little bit too heavy, being a musician, if you go too heavy, you can switch people, make them turn off. They'll not even give you the time of day. They'll think, oh, get off your soapbox. Whereas if they like a song and they go, excellent animal, that's a funny title, and then they listen, it makes them think and makes them aware of it, you know.
So what process do you go through when you get an idea for a song, and what drives you when you're songwriting?
I've always got things to write about because I'm an observer. I tend to write about things that I like, things I feel strongly about, things that people do which I don't agree with, but I might write it in a sort of witty and quite dry way. Things that I'm passionate about, and it usually starts with the music. I like to write to music, because then I'll put the music down, craft the music into the verse and the refrain and a break, and then I'll put the lyrics on top of that. I'll think of a melody that'll wrap around the chords, and then bring a hook line back in on the melody. So it's very melodic and lyric based again, and then the two go together. You've got the melodic tune, and then you've got the melodic vocal melody. And then you just sort of work it together, and it just works. There's no rule, really. I don't think. People may write the lyrics first and then the music, but this way works for me. I've always written this way.
Yeah. So how long does it normally take you to write to write a song from start to finish, to the point where you're happy with it?
Not really that long. I mean, I've just done one called "I Am Not Her," which is on the EP. And it's against stereotypes, which is something I feel very strongly about. You know, stereotypical people, how you're expected or supposed to be as a woman, which annoys me, because, you know, I don't agree with that. And it's a short 2-minute song, and it's quite simple, and it's stripped down. There's 2 guitars and just one voice. And that didn't take long at all. It took me, well, to craft the music, put the music together, probably about half an hour.
Wow.
Did the lyrics in about an hour or something.
Wow.
And then decided, yes, we're happy with it, and literally recorded it. Again, it depends, you know. The other songs you might work on it you might do the music in an afternoon or a day, and then I'll faff with the lyrics and think, no, that line needs to be changed, and it might take me 2 or 3 days. There's More to Me Than This, which is a track off the album, our most popular song so far, because they haven't heard the new ones. That took me 25 minutes to write. Yeah. It depends.
Yeah, that's so impressive. I'm so jealous of you. It's such a talent to be able to do that. I can't even sing, never mind start to do anything else like that. Sounds amazing. So what's your biggest personal achievement with your music, your proudest moment so far?
Oh gosh, probably being on television, because I got the chance to say what I wanted to say. And more importantly, because, you know, when I started off as a drummer, I used to play instruments in bands and always wanted to write and sing, and had crippling self-doubt, thinking, oh, you know, would anybody want to listen to me? Would anybody be interested in what I had to say? Can I do it? Yeah. And I remember somebody saying to me, you know, well, what do you want to go on vocals and write for? Who would want to listen to you? And then when I got the opportunity to do television, I've done a lot of television over the years, I just thought, how dare anybody say that to me or anybody else? You've got no right to try and suppress somebody's ambition. And it was more of a rewarding thing, you know, not an arrogant thing like, look at me, I'm on television. It was more of a, this is what I wanted to do, and I believe in myself, and I'm actually there doing it, you know, and saying what I want to say. So it was a relief as well that, well, I can't be that bad, you know, if I'm doing this. Really, a mixture of things, really. Yeah. But and I was also I went to Ireland in the 90s, and I played with Sinead O'Connor in Dublin, and I was supposed to be signed to Island Records, but I didn't like the way they wanted to package me. They wanted to package me in a different way that wasn't me. I've always looked the same. I've always been the same. I've said the same things my entire life. You can look back at any interview with me going back to the 80s, and I'll not be saying anything different to what I'm saying now. And the way they wanted to package me up, bearing in mind at that time, you know, was like some sort of princess Dolly type, you know, put makeup on, wear a frock. You'll never get an audience looking like that. Well, I beg to differ, because I have got an audience looking like this, whatever this is. So my proudest moment is being true to myself as well, you know, just being me. Which is why I like animals as well, because they're themselves, you know, where you are with them.
I think probably would take its toll if you were trying to perform as somebody else or something else which they wanted to make you into. It would take its toll, and you wouldn't enjoy it, you know, you wouldn't get any satisfaction out of it.
I wouldn't, and the lyrics wouldn't fit with an image of someone in a frock, you know, with it just wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be me. It wouldn't come over right. And I was quite proud of the fact that I said no. I literally had the pen in my hand, and I was sitting at a desk in a hotel in Ireland, and I just thought I could sign this now and have a guaranteed future, however long it lasts, because you're on a short shelf life. You just don't know. Or I could stick to my principles, and really there was no question about it. I can't be something I'm not.
So being an activist is obviously, which is what my sort of job is now, can be quite hard, but I can appreciate that being a musician is hard as well, because you bear in your soul. So every time you're writing something down, you're kind of bearing your soul. So how do you manage your own mental health and well-being?
Just by being myself, writing what I want to write, saying what I want to say, not giving a damn about what people think. Otherwise you wouldn't produce any work. And I get a lot of therapy from writing songs, lyrics, because I write as well. I've got a column in a music magazine. I used to write for the BBC. I used to write for a television programme, devising characters. I had my own column on the BBC for about 10 years. And I went over to America, had an agent. I had quite a big fan base over there. And it was great, because you could say what you want to say. They totally got me. And that alone, just expressing yourself when people understand where you're coming from, and being able to educate and inspire people is very, very therapeutic. It's better than any psychiatrist, believe me, because I've seen quite a few. And they're not much help. All they offer is pills and drugs, and writing is far, far better for you.
And you must get a lot out of your animals. You said you talked about your rescue animals there as well. So presumably they give you a lot of centering that probably allow you to center yourself.
Absolutely, yes, because I can relate to them. I can bond with them, because, you know, I had them, they had me. We both had nothing else, and I totally understand how they feel. You know, I come from an abusive background, so I can lock in totally to animals and understand the support that they need, and they give me far more back than what I give them. It's priceless. You can't even put money on it. It's something that I'm very, very passionate about, and always have been. Like I say, it started with the birds, you know, in a backyard in 1968.
So I know you're very supportive of what we do in North East Animal Rights, and we really, really do appreciate it. In terms of the future of the animal rights movement, do you feel optimistic about it, or do you feel as if there's still too much to do, or there's so much to do? Where do you think we are at the moment?
I'm very optimistic about it, because people like yourselves are doing a great job. People are more aware. You go places now, you see vegan menus being offered. Even seeing the word vegan, it makes people think. And coming, like I say, you know, years ago when I used to bang on about stuff, and people say, "What you on about? You know, vegetarian? What you talking about?" Or they'd come out with sort of, "Oh, you're one of those. Oh, it's a fad. It'll pass." And it hasn't. I've actually got more and more passionate about it. So I'm very, very optimistic, because you have a lot more vegan restaurants. There's one around the corner from where I live. And again, you know, people talking about this. You have adverts on television now talking about vegan, you know, vegan food, meat free. You see that a lot everywhere. And it really does make people think and make people aware. And it's going to take a long time. There's work to be done, but it's absolutely improved 1000% to how it used to be. So I'm very, very optimistic and really happy about it.
So what about other aspects of the movement? So, you know, like you mentioned vivisection before, and things like, obviously Canada Goose have now decided that they're not going to use fur anymore. So what do you think about those parts of the movement?
I think that's brilliant. I think that's an amazing achievement. It's something that you could not imagine it happening, even a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I think as well, when the thing is with people, excuse me, I've just got this sore throat after recording. The thing is with people, when one starts to do something, other people tend to jump on. Yeah. And I'm not saying this is a fad or let's jump on a bandwagon here, but because they've done this, other people might think, well, actually, perhaps we should do something about it as well. Stella McCartney, for instance, the stuff that she does, and she keeps that going. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's just lovely to see and hear about, and you just look at the animals, and you just feel so much for them, and people have no right to exploit them whatsoever in any form, as you know.
Yeah. So what are you currently up to, and what's next for you? I know you've got an EP out, so would you like to tell us about your EP?
Yes, we've just recorded a 2-track EP. It's what would be called as a double A side, if they still have them. Both songs are equally important. One is I Am Not Her, as I said before, it's about stereotypes. The other side is Threadbare. It's about a song about hope, feeling that when people don't listen to you and you're not getting through to them, but you just, carry on doing what you do in positivity and get your message across, or get what you believe in, or do whatever you like, even though they're not listening to you. You may feel that what's the point, all is lost, but it isn't. It's a nice upbeat melody that people will hopefully latch on to, the refrain. So we'll be promoting that very soon, and we're starting to get radio airplay as from today.
Good, excellent.
And it hasn't even been released yet, so that's good.
So when is the release date then?
The release date will be the 10th of July. It'll be available as a download online, but it's also available on CD, because I think it's nice to have a product and to actually have a cover and something you can hold and put on, rather than just, music's lost its value, I think, with a lot of these downloads. It's a shame, and people don't appreciate the work that goes into writing a song, recording a song, and getting the distribution done. Whereas, you've very much got this product here, and you just think, this is it. I would hold it up, but I haven't got it yet.
Well, I'm very much the same, actually. When I was talking to you before about the CD, I would love to have a CD so I can put it in the car and play it. I'm much more kind of being able to open it up, see the pictures, see the sort of like the words and everything, rather than just put the download on, which is great. It's great if you're doing some running or training or something, but I'd much prefer to have like the physical, something you can actually touch.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our audience, like I say, aren't musicians. We've got a massive age range from sort of 14 to people in their 80s. And a lot of older people say, Bluetooth, what's that? What's a download? I don't understand. And again, because we're not saying, we're not mainstream going, right, we're trying to target 10-year-olds here or whatever. They should have that opportunity to just put that CD in and listen to it in the car, wherever. So we're going to give them that opportunity.
So you've done, obviously you've got an album as well. I mean, how do people access your music? What's your website?
Right, they access it through the website. There is a pay button on there. You just click on it, and then you can pay via PayPal. And it'll come through to me, and then I've got some people that send the album out. The album actually has Fred on the cover. Would you like to see it?
Oh, yes.
And I've got one of my rescue dogs, right? I'll just get it. I should have been prepared, but I wasn't. Here you go. This is the album. This is like live television. This is fantastic. This is the album.
Oh, lovely.
Right?
That's lovely. Yeah.
Now that's my dog. One of my dogs. That's Fred. He's a rescue dog. He's a lurcher. He's actually lying down there now at the moment. He's 13. I've had him since he was small. But I thought, why not put Fred on the cover? And I did television as well with Albert, one of my greyhounds. Brought a lot of audience into the plight of greyhounds, that they make great pets, because people think they'd race around all day, and I couldn't keep up with that, and they're the laziest dogs on the planet. And again, it's just educating people again, and not exploiting the dogs by trying to promote my music through the animals. It's actually using the music to bring attention to the plight of the animals, to help them. I'm not interested. I can quite happily put my face on a mug. It doesn't bother me, but I just think it's nice to get the animals in.
Well, it is, because one of the first questions people will ask is, who's the dog? Who's the dog?
Who's the dog?
Yeah, and who's the story? What's the story? Yeah.
Well, funny enough, the album here, it's called Couldn't Care Less, right? And it looks like Fred's laughing. Can you see that?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And the words are coming out his mouth. So it's like, eat your words.
So your website you mentioned, can you give us the address of your website, please?
Yes, it's www.juliegrant.info.
Right.
juliegrant.info, sorry.
Right. www.juliegrant.info.
juliegrant.info.
Yeah,
yes.
excellent.
If you go on there, you can hear the music, you can read a little bit about me, what I've done, you can see the chaps in the band, because without them I wouldn't be doing this. They are just as important as I am, I must add.
Yeah.
It may go out under Julie Grant, but it's, you know, we are very much a unit.
Yeah.
Because, you know, without the music you wouldn't have the song, without the lyrics, you know, they'd be instrumental. So we very much work together.
Yeah.
And find out more and buy the album off there, and obviously the EP, or if somebody wants to buy both, I'm quite happy to do a deal with them on that. There's also a t-shirt with Albert on, one of my greyhounds, which is quite nice. So go to the website and find out.
Excellent. Okay, so this is next week. It's coming out, and obviously by the time this interview will be aired, it'll be just around about the same time as it's going out.
Yes.
So that's absolutely fabulous. It's been absolutely lovely talking to you today, and finally meeting you as well. Even though it is virtually, it's still much better than talking to you via email.
Well, it is. It's odd, but it's nice to actually put a face to somebody, isn't it? Although, as I say, I was thinking, I hope this works. I've not done this before, but I could quite get into this, actually. This is all right, yeah.
It is. It works really, really well. It is.
Yeah, marvellous.
But thank you very much for your time anyway. It's been really appreciated, and best of luck from everybody at North East Animal Rights as well with your EP. And we want to wish you all the success in the world, because you definitely deserve it.
Thank you. And if there's anything, as I say, I'm quite happy to promote your group. And if there's anything else I can do to promote it, I certainly will. And sending me a t-shirt, and I'll do a photo session wearing it.
Excellent.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody for tuning in, listening, watching, whatever. And go and listen to the EP.
Yep, go and buy it. Definitely.
Go and buy it.
Thank you very much then. Okay, so this is Anna Amelia from North East Animal Rights saying thank you very much to Julie Grant and signing off for now.
Thanks. Bye-bye.